With reportedly 25 minutes of different footage between the theatrical and extended cut, is one version of Escape Room Tournament of Champions better than the other, or do they both jump the shark and take this promising franchise in the wrong direction? Stick around to hear my thoughts. I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and did I say Geek Central? christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions with an uncut review of Escape Room Tournament of Champions, starting with the theatrical cut. The synopsis, which I assume applies to both, on IMDb reads, 6 people unwillingly find themselves locked in another series of escape rooms, slowly uncovering what they have in common to survive. Joining forces with 2 of the original survivors, they soon discover they've all played the game before. Did I refer to this as my uncut review? I did. This is totally going to be actually a cut review. Anyway, right now, theatrical cut. The story, script, pacing, tone. How does this compare to the original? What is this basic animal? Again, it has that haunted house structure of the first movie, minus the diverse personalities. Characters do have some unique facets to them, but I didn't feel like we knew these characters as much as we knew the cast of the first movie when all was said and done. And this really hurt my investment. I still cringed as they narrowly escaped or fell victim to various traps, but the tension was not as consistent for me throughout the movie compared to the first because of my disconnect from the new characters. Also, the movie has some weak points for my tastes that are common to sequels in the genre. Sequels need to be the same but different. I think we all understand that. You can't just almost literally do the exact same thing. There has to be something different, more, better, whatever. This one goes for different and more, I think. And without spoiling anything, I'll say that if you accidentally bring with you knowledge of how Hollywood tends to work, you can also guess probably at who is likely safe and who is likely doomed unless they make some bold choices. By some measures, they did make some bold choices, but in too many others for my tastes, they played it safe. I've recorded a spoiler video with my 2 sons. We watched this movie together, and I will post that before too long. That goes into details in this area. I also felt like the enemy becomes too powerful in some mildly shark-jumping ways, to the point where if a third movie is made, it'll likely be radically different in scope from the first, at least, and feel like a very different type of movie. Now, they could make that work, and it could be satisfying to see the series evolve in some way, but for me, the displayed power of the enemy becomes too far-reaching in this movie, leaving me kind of throwing up my hands and feeling like, well, they can just do whatever they want, and they don't have to justify any of it. All bets are off, and all tension gone, which is a real problem for me in this genre when it happens. There were already signs of this tension being lost and them taking things a little too far early on when a couple trap rooms seemed just impossibly deadly, and who escapes versus who is hurt or killed seems not to be based on established rules of reality or character choices and character flaws and stuff like that, but based more on luck, or more to the point, who the writers wanted to live, die, or be wounded. And when I start seeing that meta level of the production invade my thoughts and distract me or come into my perception of the movie, it's kind of like seeing the puppet strings or seeing the code in the Matrix. I'm stepping out of the illusion, and so yeah, that's kind of a bummer. The cast all felt solid to me. You know, I felt they had very little to work with to differentiate their characters. One woman is a travel vlogger, and that stated vocation seemed about as close as we get to learning a personality trait about her. A priest character expresses survivor's guilt, and his actions, out of all of them, seemed, I think, the most consistently motivated by character traits, but there wasn't a strong payoff to his arc. And again, sorry, you know, I'm talking more about writing complaints than acting, so I'll just say again, the acting felt solid, and we'll move on from there. Not much to say about stunts and visuals. You know, there are more visual effects, as could be expected in the sequel of a successful movie, but I didn't think that they helped the story. Now, as far as themes, is there moral, philosophical, spiritual significance in the themes of this version of the movie that might trigger some worthwhile thought or conversation? The priest character could have gone somewhere interesting, but I feel like was just a missed opportunity. A more interesting moral dilemma is that of seemingly being forced to do evil in order to save someone. Is it wrong to assist in killing someone if someone else will be killed if you refuse? These are intense situations that we're very unlikely to face in our lives, but we may face lesser versions or choices in our lives with some significant parallels, where it may seem like if we don't go along with something morally questionable, someone will do something that harmfully affects someone that we care about. And in those situations, there are no easy answers. They have to be wrestled through on a case-by-case basis. But one thing that a character highlights in this story, I think, is worth keeping in mind. They point out basically that those who may do some wrong unless we participate in doing some other wrong with them are still responsible for their choices and actions. They are not cause and effect machines that are just going to automatically do something bad or whatever if we do option A or whatever. Whatever we choose to do, they are still faced again with that crossroads, that moment of choice. And if they enter into sin because we refuse to, whatever harm they do will be their responsibility before God. This version is rated PG-13 for violence, terror/peril, and strong language. Now, give me just a second to watch the extended cut, and I will share my thoughts on that version. Okay, that extended cut was interesting. Most extended cuts add character. I almost always prefer extended or alternate cuts more than the theatrical version. The extended cut here does add some characters, but it doesn't really add more character development for the main cast. Sonia is a name that pops up in the trap rooms of both versions of the movie, and the identity of Sonia is a major part of the final act in both versions of the movie, but who she is differs drastically. There's also an entirely different sequence instead of the final trap room that takes us into the life of a middle management puzzle maker at Minos, the company that makes these trap rooms. There's a story of him and his family that I thought, especially when they introduced them at the beginning of the movie, I thought it would add some needed heart, some needed emotion, some characterization, character development to the story, but it actually, when they came back to that plot line in the final act, felt more rushed and forced than the theatrical version, which even in itself, the last act on the theatrical version felt like they were forcing some things, and so this felt even further in that direction. And also felt rushed, like, oh my gosh, they're like really trying to make this all come together. And that cut of the movie is 6 minutes longer, ultimately. I mean, it's 25 minutes of different footage that they took out. And so, it's not like, I want to be clear, it's not a 25-minute longer movie. Ultimately, the runtime is only about 6 minutes longer, I believe. But it has 25 minutes of different footage, different storyline. So I would really call it an alternate cut rather than an extended cut. Let's see. So I really felt like that even though, the theatrical cut was going for both different and more, the extended/alternate cut leans more into being different. I don't think that the organization Minos gets expanded into this uber powerful, uber far-reaching kind of organization like it did in the theatrical cut. It doesn't go as far in that direction. It goes more leaning into the behind the scenes of Minos, but I find that plot line unsatisfying. And so it's weird. I actually find that this alternate cut to be less satisfying even than the theatrical version, which I also found unsatisfying at the end of the day. So with both versions of the movie, it's really, for me, the direction of the story and the focus of the writing that feels like a big misstep for me compared to what I really valued in the first movie. I can't think of many other franchises that I felt so differently about between the first movie, enjoying it so much, and the second movie feeling so let down. This might be the biggest difference in my mind in that experience, going from something really positive to something that just fell flat for me. Because of how much I enjoyed the first, I was so looking forward to the second, and now I'm just not interested in where a third movie might go. So yeah, I guess I'll just sum up by saying, as usual, I have no idea what your tastes are in movies, but if I were a time traveler, I'd go back in time and say, Peter, skip this one. The continuation of the story after the first movie is just way better in your imagination. Peacock this month has all of the Saw movies, and watching that first escape room movie really got you interested in this type of movie again, the haunted house or the death trap puzzle room type thing, and seeing people push themselves to survive, you know. So I think that hunger that the first movie gave you is much more likely to be satisfied by giving the Saw movies another try. I mean, you at least like the first two movies. Maybe if you can push past the third one, you'll find what other people obviously enjoyed about that series that made it, you know, continue going and growing so much. So, I skip this one. Give the Saw franchise another try, and hopefully that'll be a better experience for you, and just leave Escape Room behind, unfortunately. The extended version has no rating, but I would say it's equivalent in content to PG-13 for, I would think, the same reasons as the theatrical cut. Those are all my thoughts for now on Escape Room Tournament of Champions, both the theatrical and extended versions. I would love to get your thoughts and reactions in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, click that bell to stay connected. I want to thank the Spirit Blade Insiders for making this review possible. For info about the benefits of becoming an insider, go to patreon.com/spiritbladeproductions. Then I hope you will check out our podcast and stay connected to all CGC content at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. Once again this year, I'm raising funds for children in urgent need, this time fundraising for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which provides free treatment for children facing life or death circumstances, and shares its cutting-edge life-saving research with hospitals all over the world. To raise funds, I'm leading members of the Christian Geek Central community in our Game Save 21 event, which you're still welcome to join by following the link in the description below. And once again this year, I'm drawing attention to our team's fundraising by performing a 24-hour marathon of video gaming that I will stream live on youtube.com/christiangeekcentral beginning 6 a.m. Pacific Time on Saturday, November 6th. You can donate or get more info by clicking on my fundraising page in the links below, where you'll also find incentives and rewards for doing so. For donating $5 or more, you can choose a topic for me to share my sometimes overly strong opinions on during my live stream. For $10 or more, you get the previous reward and a download code for a free copy of the Spirit Blade Special Edition audio drama. For $20 or more, you get the previous rewards, and you can choose a game for me to play during my November 6th live stream. Pick a favorite or torture me with something terrible or rage-inducingly difficult. At $30, you get the previous rewards, and you can choose a song for me to sing during my November 6th live stream. Pick an old favorite of yours, or just make me humiliate and torture myself with something no one wants to hear. And at $50 or more, you get the previous rewards and a download code for every MP3 product at spiritblade.com. That's an $80 value. On top of that, I've set some fundraising milestones that will unlock strange and unusual happenings as I reach them. At $200, I'll have a free download day for everyone who visits spiritblade.com on November 13th. And as my total goes beyond $200, I'll unlock increasingly more content for that free download day. And depending how far beyond $200 my fundraising goes, during my November 6th live stream, I will show a photo of me you will never be able to unsee, put on a pair of frozen socks and a frozen t-shirt at the same time, shoot water up my nose with a turkey baster, and have my wife Holly play a video game with me for 30 minutes. And if I reach a personal fundraising total of $500 or more, I will do a 2-hour jump scare live stream before the end of the year featuring only the games that terrify me most, including Dead Space and PT. Now, I don't want to do that, but I know you sick people want to see that, so you're going to have to pay money to make it happen. And if I reach my $500 goal by the end of Thursday, October 21st, I will do a 4-hour live stream on Monday night, October 25th, doing my pathetically absolute best to get good at a game in the Souls genre. Now, there are some stipulations and time limits on those rewards and milestones, so quickly follow the link below to my fundraising page for all the details. I hope that you will be a part of helping me and the Christian Geek Central Game Save team do some good for some kids and families who really need it. And then please join me at youtube.com/christiangeekcentral for my 24-hour video gaming marathon starting at 6 a.m. Pacific Time on Saturday, November 6th. Hope to see you then. Oh my gosh. This is all kinds of wrong.